guys, here we go then. So I'm going out for a little what, did he just go up that bank then? Probably on his phone. So yeah, I'm going to go and I want to go to a local town. It's not that far away, but yeah, I'm going to go and test it. But I think I'm going to go partly off road. There's a little section, a little track, but I'm not sure how far it actually goes. I'm going to try and get as far as I can down there. So yeah, everything's sort of looking okay. Shouldn't jinx it. Still at about 80 volts. Probably done about a mile and something so far. But it's a nice day again. So here we go, guys. This is what it's all about. This is the stuff that you're waiting for. It's sort of very well like building all these batteries and stuff, but when you get to the point where you're actually using them for something, that's what it's all about. So my display here on my, you probably can't see it, but my display that I've got on the handlebars is the Sabaton one, obviously, and I've actually changed the settings on it so that it shows a percentage of the battery rather than the voltage, because this Mini's trying to overtake me. Go on then. Yeah, I've changed it to a percentage, which you can do in the settings. God dear, what's going on today? Because the voltage reading on them is about a volt out for some strange reason. So yeah, that's not accurate. So I'm using the voltage meter on the actual phone display down there. I don't like calling that a phone. I think it looks better than a phone. It looks like some sort of special OEM device. Yeah, so I was thinking about doing all of that, like sort of going the route of having like a they don't realise how fast you're going, do they? Yeah, I was thinking about going that route, like having the Android device and then the display link to it, but the trouble is you really need a touchscreen, don't you? So I have been thinking about this with have been thinking about using, you know, doing that sort of thing. Maybe you could make a display that has like buttons, actual buttons on the bottom, so you don't use a touch screen, because obviously this is a touch screen. But maybe you could use like configurable buttons in the Android app and have like actual physical buttons on the bike. But I don't know. Ooh, give him a little race. Yeah, so you know, it's that sort of jazz. But I've just seen some kids up there on the right. I got stopped by a bunch of kids the other day on their bikes, and it was really, really bad. They came up to me in the park and they almost like surrounded me. I mean, I'm not like, you know, intimidated or anything like that. They just wanted to know more about the bike, and so, you know, wanted to speak to them. Obviously, you know, they wanted to know, so I'm happy to sort of share what I'm doing. But one of them was like, oh, is it fast, and my bike basically is sitting there, you know, it's armed because I've just pulled up, and one of the kids was like, oh, how fast does it go, and went to twist the throttle while I was sitting on it. And I mean, stupidly for me, really, I should have had the I should have disengaged it as soon as I've come to a stop. This is a lesson, guys. But obviously there's no engine running or anything like that. If there was an engine running, he probably wouldn't have done it. But fortunately I managed to like whack his hand off the handlebars so quick, because otherwise, I mean, this was on a kind of park, in a kind of park area, and you know, there was things ahead in front, there was people walking, and I mean, you know, if he twisted that and that bike went flying from out of my crotch, well, you know what's going to happen, don't you? So yeah, I was not happy about that, and they were all sort of going, oh, you know, give us a go. No guys, don't think so at all. But you know, they want to know. It made me think though, back when I was young, you know, and I used to go and visit my girlfriend at the time on my bike, and I used to ride, sometimes I'd ride like 15-20 miles or something like that, you know. If I'd usually get the train and then kind of get off the train and kind of ride the next little bit. Anyway, this I think there's like an exit point a bit further up, so this will be a nice little, this is called the Flitch Way, and it actually runs for blooming miles. It's an old train line, which I love all this sort of stuff, but it runs for miles. Basically where I used to live, which is 21 miles away or something, more than that probably, you can basically almost get there just on this track. It's completely uninterrupted, unfortunately. There is a road, I suppose, where they discontinued the train line, and then they kind of, you know, put a you know, like a road across it. Originally in the old days, I suppose it didn't actually have that road, wasn't there. So yeah, it just goes for miles. But you know, I like riding, and this is, I mean, it's so smooth. It feels so smooth. This guy's like wandering all over in his own world. Didn't even realise what was going on. So anyway, nattering on. I've got these new gloves, which turned out pretty well. Found this motorcycle shop where, actually near where I used to live. The other day I was up that way and I saw it and I thought, oh, went in there and picked up some new gloves, because my other Fox ones were poking my finger out, and they weren't particularly warm either. The other ones I've got are really warm, but they're the heated ones, and they're just a bit too big for the e-bike. All right in the winter, but you know, we're not quite there yet, are we? So my range meter, yeah, this isn't, something's not right here. It's saying I've got 19 amp hours remaining. I can't have done 5. Can't have done 5 already. Don't make any sense. So I think that's going down a bit quick. I'm still at 78 volts. So yeah, I don't know what's up with that. It's a bit weird. The problem with the BMS, this is probably the only thing we've found so far. I mean, I've been testing this about a week solid now. Tony's obviously been doing it longer, probably, but yeah, I mean, the only thing I found personally is the now do I need to go down here? Probably best to come off here. Yeah, the only thing I found is the BMS firmware actually, it stores all the information inside the BMS, which is good, because it means that if the app disconnects, then the app doesn't lose all its data. But on the downside, it means that you can't actually modify the code of the BMS without the firmware, without the source code to the firmware, should I say. So this is a little battle we've got going on at the moment, where there's certain bits and pieces. It's gone up to 21. Oh, this is very strange. Now it's gone down to 1.5. So yeah, real life stuff, guys. We'll get to the bottom of it, but it's jumping about all over the place, this capacity gauge, which is a bit of a pain, because you kind of need that. But I know my route anyway. I know roughly what my route takes, so I'm not too bothered about knowing on this journey. But oh, do you know what? It hasn't gone back. It's the display. I'm looking at the numbers quickly, trying to look down, but because this display is small and the numbers are crunched together, there is the two numbers are very close together basically, and there is another number there, so it's not gone down to 1, it's on 21 now. Anyway, I was having this problem and I was thinking it was resetting, because when you get an alarm, like a low cell voltage alarm, because I was doing the testing, I was literally trying as hard as I could to get as much power out of it as possible, and yeah, so I was doing that, and what I was finding was the capacity gauge was just going to 0, and I was getting alarms as well, because cell voltages were dropping to my preset low voltage, which is about 3 volts or something. So, you know, this is the thing. It doesn't do it when the battery's actually fully charged. It does it when it's about half charged, because then the voltage drops a bit further, doesn't it? So this is the problem you get. Anyway, busy junction coming up. This is the problem. Anyway, I can stop and chat now, can't I? This is the thing about having your sort of motorcycle gear and stuff on, is that you do look like a motorcycle, and this is the problem. If you want to stay inconspicuous, you know, with all this stuff, then you really need to be, yeah, wearing like bike helmets and stuff like that. But yeah, dressed like this, I mean, I've just got a normal jacket on, which isn't the safest thing in the world, but just every blimmin' car. There are ways of getting to this place without actually doing this roundabout, and that's really the way I should have went, because it ain't the best thing in the world. But this brings you to the bottom part of the town, one side of it, rather than the other end, which because I want to go somewhere, because I want to check out, see if the guy with the scooter is actually at the car thing, because I said I'd show him the bike. That's a horrible coloured blooming soft top, that thing. There's a lot of cycle routes around here, not as many as some places, but there are a few, which is helpful. The stupid thing about cycle passes, they just finish though. This is the stupid thing. They just end, and then what you do, you get chucked in the road. Hello, mate. He's a good guy at that car wash. I was just chatting to him about the bike. He said he's got, well, he was really interested to see this bike, but he said he's just got so many people talking about that red bike that one of his boys have got. One of the guys that works for him. I don't know, it's weird, isn't it? It's like a sort of scootery type thing. It does about 25 mile an hour. It's interesting, and he said something like, you know, if he had like 20 of them, he could sell them straight away, because every time his customers come in, you know, they want them, or their kids want them. Or it's interesting when you put something in front of them, or if he's got that scooter out down the side, and it just has drawn so much attention. And stuff like that just really interests me. But I don't know, maybe we'd be able to get some of those scooters. I know my guys in China have, well, I've got access to anything out there. I need to go there very soon. Yeah, you're edging out, aren't you? Yeah, I mean, there's ways of getting all this stuff. I'll have to have a look. Little sales channels. That's what it's all about. So anyway, yeah, I was just saying, you know, has he had any sort of unwanted attention? I think he lives about a mile away, you know, from there, riding that thing. So that's the only problem. The more and more things out there that are like that are gonna potentially mess it up for for everyone else, you know, because if people are hooning around on those and they have accidents, then, well, it's just going to get banned straight away, isn't it? Or they're going to be more in tune to what these things are. This is the thing. People have a go at me because this bike, the way this bike looks, saying, you know, you're not really floating about under the radar and everything else. But I don't really care. Don't really care. It's got to go around this roundabout on a normal bike. What on earth? Anyway, enough rambling. This is a nice little cycle track. I've been up here before on a video. I'll come up here, I've been up and down here a few times actually, not on camera. But yeah, this is the new one they've built. Kind of to get you to that town really, it kind of gets you almost to that town, but it avoids that big roundabout and all that horrible stuff that I went across when I was coming the other way. So this is kind of like a nice little trail. Oh, do you know what I was going to do? Actually, I was going to see where the other part of it ends up. Because if we go left here, it takes you to the airport. But if you go right, it's supposed to take you to the forest. But I'm not 100% sure yet. Whoa, yeah. It's interesting how you kind of learn with running this stuff and doing a lot of this. You learn what feels like what. Like, you know, I know what 2000 watts feels like. I know what, you know, 80 amps feels like. What kind of pull you get. So this is the way that I don't know where this goes, but it looks pretty cool. Runner. Interesting place. Oh wow, interesting. So this just, he's basically going underneath all those roundabouts I was talking about. You can do this on a motorcycle, could you? With registration plates. And this, you took them off. I don't think that's very legal though, is it? Another, oh, that's going to be a big bump. It takes you straight over the top of that. This is the thing about, I like about living somewhere new, probably every 3 or 5 years. You sort of keep finding new places. I really want to know where this comes out. This is when you kind of, you come out the other end and you're like, oh my god, I've just made the biggest shortcut ever. It makes you realise how long way round all the roads go. Mainly because they go round. What's this? This may even join that trail that I was on when I came down. If it does, that would be seriously cool. It comes to a road, as luck would have it. Although no, it goes round. good bit of suspension on this bike, really is. I could always flip open Google Maps on my little display down there. That's another good thing. Brings you out here, look at that. And then you can go straight through there and back onto that trail. Go! So I've only done 10 amp hours. I haven't been ripping it too bad, have I? But National Cycle Network. Let's annoy these cyclists. Thank you. Feeling of power is great. You must all have power. Power is needed. Silent killer. That's what it is. This is much better than riding along the road. I might go and get a coffee, you know. There's a pretty good place up here. My horn, I better not bid my hooter because I scare the living daylights out of them. I did that the other day on a there was a massive great cycle competition. I was out doing a test run on this, and I don't know if it's a competition or what. There was just a huge number of cyclists and they're all shouting as they're going around the corner, but they basically took the whole lane up, the whole 2 lanes, and I was behind them and I just wanted to go forward, wanted to go past them. And I was just like, well, you know, ask them if I can go past. So I just honked the horn, you know, just did a quick, and oh god, the faces, and they were, oh yeah, this guy on an e-bike, look at him on an e-bike. This is a funny thing though, because I've got no interest at all in, you know, doing cycling, doing that, dressing up and going out and doing all that crap. I've got no interest in it. It's fine if you want to do that, it's absolutely fine. I've got nothing against people that do it, but I've got no interest myself. And I will never comment, you know, I'll never say anything. I'll never say anything to people's faces, but why is it some of the cyclists, I didn't want to go this way, I wanted to go down, didn't I? Why do the cyclists decide to say something? To be fair to them though, one of them was actually quite interested. And he was like, oh yeah, so where did you buy that then? But I didn't buy it, I built it. That's the thing about this, because it looks pretty OEM. A lot of people just think, oh, you've just gone and bought it. It's only when you sort of speak to them and sort of say, well, no, this is like a project that's taken about 3 years, then they sort of give you a little bit more respect. I don't know. Don't have time for it. I've just realised I don't actually think I've got any money on me, which would be really helpful. I've got contactless on my phone, but so down to 60%. It's saying 14 amp hour remaining, so the meter, touch wood, is probably reading about right. What happens with this meter is it resets when you get a full charge, and it knows that by, there's a setting for the fully charged voltage. So when it hits that, I think it's that, and only that. I don't know if it's like current. It might measure the current, and well, it always measures the current, but it might register where the current goes down at the end of the drop off. It might sort of signify that as well. But I think what it does is it definitely does a combination of things to get the capacity. There's some little calculation in there where if it drops down, you know, like if you've got Cycle Analyst, it's got a little battery bar gauge on the side of it, and if you turn the Cycle Analyst off midway through a charge cycle and then turn it back on again, the little battery gauge, this is a version 3 Cycle Analyst, I don't know if the others do it, it kind of looks like it's trying to fill up, and it can't, while it's working out what it thinks the voltage based on what it thinks the capacity remaining is. And I think it uses like voltage and that capacity gauge, because you set the full, what the battery is at full. So if it's a 25 amp hour battery, you put 25 in, etc. So I think it uses that to, you know, kind of work out what it actually is. Yeah, anyway, so this does the same. I'm pretty sure it just does the same. It just works out what the remaining is based on voltage. But if the voltage collapses because you've just drawn too much load, this is where the problem happens. And I think what it does, it just goes, oh no, you've got nothing left, and it just goes zero really quickly. So in firmware, that's what really needs to be changed. Right, so we're in a little area here. Don't leave that hoverboard charging overnight, mate, otherwise your house will burn down. What a nice place. It is nice around here. I've kept saying I'm going to come over here once I've got a bigger battery. It's not really that far. I could probably do it on any number of small batteries. And we're back. Nice little ride. So it's saying 9.19 amp hours left, 72 volts. This is creeping up a bit now as it's been sitting here for 5 minutes as I've gone inside and grabbed a handful of peanuts. So we're on 3.6. The difference there is 0.18. So you can see all these cells are 3.6. Nothing wrong, nothing bad, nothing. Remaining, yeah, we know that already. I've said that. 24 degrees on the actual BMS, which is just nothing, is it? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to charge it and see what we actually put back in, because according to this we should put in about 15. If it's 25 amp hours, I don't know. I mean, it should be around 15 or whatever, and we won't see it on that display because it'll reset when it gets to fully charged, and I probably won't be in it. So what we'll do is we'll use this. Why is that turned off? Oh yeah, there you go. Right, so we'll use this one and then we'll see exactly what the amp hours are going back in when it's fully charged.